All right. Welcome in Mount Polumbus Speak special edition because the Colorado Buffaloes got some fantastic news today. Juju Lewis, the number 2 overall recruit in the frickin' country, according to ESPN, has flipped from USC to the University of Colorado. Excuse me. And this was news that has been brewing. Okay. So this guy, Juju, he has been into Boulder 4 times. He's been committed to USC. He's already decommitted from a handful of schools. But now he flips over to Colorado. Look, Deion has been on the hunt for this kid for a long time. And after 1 visit, it's like, okay, cool. 2 visits, all right, this kid's interested. 3 visits, well, this thing's getting crazy. 4 visits, this thing's just silly. So we knew that there was a very good chance of getting Juju to flip to the University of Colorado. And about a week and a half ago, I got some information that this was officially going to go down. It took a little bit longer for it to unfold than what I thought it was going to. But today on the Pat McAfee show, Juju goes on and announces his commitment on national television. Pat had never had a high school kid on his show to announce a commitment because they're high school kids, but things are changing. Brings them on. Pretty damn cool to see this thing unfolding. And it's very interesting timing for this all to happen because, look, man, there is a lot of chatter about Deion Sanders and his future. Where is he going? What's going to happen with the Cowboys? I just put on some highlights of Juju, by the way. And will he be coaching the NFL next year, specifically with the Dallas Cowboys and the Las Vegas Raiders? Well, before I get to all that, I don't want to gloss over this young man, Julian Lewis. He is a tremendous athlete, man. Look, there is a difference of opinion based off what recruiting service you want to look at of how high this kid is ranked. ESPN's got him ranked as the number 2 overall recruit, not just quarterbacks. Well, 24/7 Sports on 3, they've got him a little bit lower. Matter of fact, he has slipped in their rankings, and I believe 24/7 has got him ranked as the number 9 overall quarterback in the country. I have no idea actually where they've got him ranked in terms of overall recruits, regardless of positions, but they've got him as the number 9 QB. So not every outlet is going to have the same opinion of him. He's a 4-star recruit, but I don't care. I don't care if he's number 8. I don't care if he's number 9. Colorado just passed the keys of the kingdom from Deion Sanders down to Julian Lewis. And the future looks bright for Colorado. So when you look at these highlights, man, you're looking at a young kid who isn't the tallest guy in the world. Matter of fact, gives you a little bit of Bryce Young vibes, which might not sound great considering the NFL career has not gone awesome, but it was good enough to become the number 1 overall pick. So that is not a shot at Julian Lewis at all, but a little bit undersized in terms of height. Great processor, gets rid of the ball quickly, tremendous arm strength. There's a clip that floats around on the internet that has got Julian Lewis when he's 14 years old, throwing passes in front of CJ Stroud and a handful of other NFL vets, and they're all just blown away by this kid. Well, he's clearly got his stuff together because he's 17 years old and he's got another year left in high school. He's foregoing his senior season. This isn't even his senior season. He's foregoing his senior season and he plans to enroll in January at the University of Colorado. How you pull that off, don't ask me. I wasn't smart enough to be able to figure that out in high school, so I'm certainly not smart enough to figure it out now. But the dude has clearly got it together and is got to. Sorry, I'm just watching these highlights. That is a phenomenal throw right now, and he's got a bright future for CU. So look for Deion Sanders. I definitely don't want to be a buzzkill on this at all because I've been always in the camp that I think it's far more likely that Deion stays at the University of Colorado than Deion leaves to go coach in the NFL. But I do acknowledge that it's certainly a possibility. And despite what Deion has been saying, look, man, you can mean things today and then things change. Deion has said all the right things. He wants to stay at CU, and he said it 150 times on 150 different outlets. But things can evolve, and somebody can offer you $20 million. Somebody can say, hey, come to the Las Vegas Raiders, and you can draft Sheduer Sanders. You can continue to coach your son that you have coached your entire life. Well, that'd be pretty hard to say no to. So I was in the camp always that it's probably like 60-40 that Deion Sanders stays, and maybe 70-30, somewhere in that ballpark. This edition of Julian Lewis certainly feels like that should bump that up. Maybe we're closer to 75-80% that Deion Sanders is going to stay. Look, Deion's got to sit in front of this young man's dad, his mom, and he's got to sell the dream, right? And his parents are sitting there asking Deion Sanders, are you going to be here? Well, in today's day and age, it's never been easier to flip commitments as Julian already has. And it's never been easier to leave if your circumstances change. So if Deion Sanders were to leave the University of Colorado, well, Julian Lewis can leave in a heartbeat just like that. But I do think this makes it that much more likely that Deion Sanders stays at CU. Come on, man. He's got it frickin' set. He got Sheduer Sanders right now. He's got the Buffs in a playoff hunt. Let's start with getting to the Big 12 championship. I'm not overlooking that. I'm certainly not overlooking Kansas this weekend. But they've got a very good possibility of making it to the playoffs this year. You bring Julian in, and you think other recruits aren't going to follow? There's a kid at USC right now, an offensive tackle, Cade something. I'm drawing a blank on his name. But he is also now allegedly looking at flipping to CU. Lincoln Riley is losing recruits left and right. However, USC did replace Julian Lewis in like 10 minutes. They flipped a kid from Texas A&M to come to USC, so they got their quarterback settled. But other recruits are now going to follow. When you see a blue chip, and that's what Julian Lewis is, a blue chip quarterback come to CU, guess what happens? Other blue chips are going to follow. Why the hell would Deion want to leave? I'm more worried about Deion Sanders leaving for another college job than I am about him taking a NFL job, because I believe Deion when he says his calling is, let me flip back to the other one. Sorry about that. Hold on. Technology. Just me. There we are. I'm more worried about Deion Sanders flipping for another college job than I am NFL, because I believe Deion when he says that his calling is to mentor young men. And you don't get to do that at the NFL level. A little bit. But it's much more difficult when you're talking to 25, 26-year-olds with $10 million in the bank than when you're trying to mentor and develop a young man into a mature man when they're 17 years old. So, look, Deion is thriving in college football right now because college football is in a state of anarchy. And Deion Sanders thrives in chaos. This Colorado Buffaloes team is learning to thrive in chaos. College football is so unstable that on the surface, it's like, why the hell would any coach prefer to coach in college football rather than the NFL? So if an NFL team would come calling, why would Deion Sanders not want to take that job? In college football, not only do you have to recruit kids every single year, you have to re-recruit your own kids every single year. Your own roster, you have to recruit again, year after year after year. There's another school with a bigger bag, and none of it is real NIL money. There's only like 5 or 6 kids in the entire country that are making true NIL money, but there's always another bigger bag from some other university that's trying to pull kids off your own roster, and it's just a freaking headache, man. It's chaos. Kids leave on a moment's notice. Coaches leave at a moment's notice. Why would anybody want to stay in college? Well, here's why I think Deion will. Number one, he cares about developing young men. I believe that that's real. But number two, Deion is able to have so much success within the current state of college football because he's freaking prime time. He's Deion Sanders. Kids will come to Deion Sanders because he's prime time. He got Travis Hunter to go to Jackson State. Like, I don't think people think about that as much as they should. Travis Hunter went to frickin' Jackson State because he's Deion Sanders. And now Julian Lewis. Now he's coming over to the University of Colorado because he's Deion Sanders. And all these other kids in the transfer portal where Deion makes his money, they come to the University of Colorado because he's Deion Sanders. When you get to the NFL, it doesn't work like that. Number one, there is no transfer portal. You've got free agency. And free agency comes about every 4 or 5 years for most players, not every year. You don't get to flip the roster. You don't get to recruit kids. You know how you get people to come to your team in the NFL? Contracts. Free agency contracts that are balanced with a salary cap. There's no such thing in college football. And what Deion Sanders has got right now at CU is the ability to literally build a program off of his name. I'm not saying that NFL players wouldn't be attracted to playing for Deion Sanders. I'm sure they would, but nobody goes in free agency for a coach. Nobody even goes for quarterbacks. Maybe Tom Brady, maybe the Peyton Mannings, but only when you're on the back half of your career and you've already been paid. 9 out of 10 free agents go for the money. So you don't get to recruit based off your name when you get to the NFL, and that's what makes it frickin' work. And then specifically the University of Colorado right now, I'm starting to think more and more, CU literally might be a forever job for Deion. All right, somebody's going to roll the tape on this in like 6 months when he takes the Raiders job, and haha, Tyler, you're an idiot. You called it forever job. But let's think about this for a second. Could he go to Florida State? Maybe, although there's tons of rumors that he's ticked off at his alma mater for their recruitment of Sheduer Sanders. Could he flip for USC? Will Lincoln Riley get fired at some point? Probably. Are there going to be suitors out there? Yeah, there will. But if you stay at CU, you know what you got? You've almost got a guaranteed opportunity to make the playoffs every single year because the Big 12 ain't the SEC, and it's not the Big 10. You go to the SEC, and every single year you run the risk of becoming Mike Norvell. You went 13-0 last year, and this year you can't win a football game. It's competitive. It's tough, right? But at CU, you play in the Big 12. There's no featured program in the Big 12 right now. Colorado's got a very legitimate chance of becoming the face of the Big 12 for the next decade. It's actually the easiest route to the playoffs year in and year out. The Big 12's not the Pac-10, or excuse me, not the Big 10. It's not the SEC. You build a powerhouse in the Big 12, and it's by far the easiest path into the playoffs year in and year out. You've got things going the right way. Things are clicking. You've got kids like Julian Lewis come to see you. You're like you're like the opposite of whatever normal trends are, right? And like that goes as far. I don't know if you guys have seen what's going on with the East-West Shrine game. Let me see if I can pull up a list of this really quick because this is a fascinating situation. So the East-West Shrine game is not the premier. I'm sorry, I'm typing and I can't think at the same time. The East-West Shrine game is not the premier All-Star game. The Senior Bowl is the premier All-Star game. I got invited to the East-West Shrine Bowl, and I was thrilled to go because I didn't get invited to the Senior Bowl. But Colorado just announced that they've got like 6 players that are all going to go to the Shrine Bowl, including, guess who? Sheduer Sanders. Sheduer Sanders. It's Sheduer, it's Cameron Silman Craig, it's Will Shepard, LeJontay Wester, I think Jimmy's on that list, and Shiloh. So there's 7 different Colorado Buffaloes. They're going to go to the Shrine Bowl. Well, you're probably like, Tyler, why is that a big deal? It's just fascinating to me. They do what they want. They make their own rules. Sheduer Sanders is like, no, I'm not going to go to the Senior Bowl. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the East-West game. I'm going to help out my boys. And you know what? It helps out Sheduer Sanders a little bit also, because instead of having to go throw passes to wide receivers you've never thrown to, not knowing their timing, their tempo, well, now you go to a bowl game and you're throwing routes to your dudes. The Buffs make their own rules. So my point here is, it's CU. Deion Sanders has got that. He's got the ability to make his own rules. He can redefine the Big 12. He can become the biggest face in the history of the Big 12. I mean, if Deion were to leave today, his impact on this university will be remembered forever. Forever. The 2-year run would be remembered forever. Can you imagine if he stayed for 10 years? You get to make your own rules, man. I'm sure there's other programs out there in college that would let him put Prime all over their gear, but probably not as many as you think. You think Alabama's going to let him put Prime Alabama? And it's damn sure not happening in the NFL. And look, I have no idea how much money he's making off all that, but I'm sure it's a pretty penny. So that's a pretty healthy little supplemental income that's coming in on top of what his salary is. Colorado does not have the NIL type of money that you're going to find at Texas, that you're going to find at Alabama, that you're going to find at Ohio State. But they got Julian Lewis because it's Deion Sanders. And so I think Deion, is smart enough to realize all that. Like, I'm sure he could succeed in the NFL. But I think he's smart enough to realize, hey, in college, these kids come to me because I'm me. And it's not that simple when you go to the NFL. So unless Deion sat down with Julian Lewis's dad and lied to his face, which he wouldn't be the first coach that ever done it, unless he's sitting down in front of all these outlets and lying to their face and saying, I'm staying put, I got my kickstand down. Although I've never seen a coach say that I'm leaving. So believe me, I'm not naive enough to think that guarantees that he's staying. But this edition of Julian, this means more to me than anything that he said in the media, because that's just coaches saying what they got to say. But now you're selling a dream to a kid and his family, and they apparently believe it. They apparently believe Deion Sanders is staying. I saw Deion Jr. talking about, he asked his dad, hey, should I renew my lease? Silly things like that. He's like, hey, man, I don't want to renew my lease unless I got to. He renews his lease. Deion Sanders ain't going anywhere. He's staying put. And Colorado's going to be the face of the Big 12 for a very long time. I appreciate all you guys watching. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet tonight. Just had to jump in and talk about Julian Lewis here a little bit because this is freaking big time. This is so enormous, and this is going to change the future of the program. Everybody thought what's going to happen after Sheduer is gone. Well, now we know. You got another blue chip QB. If you've not subscribed to Mount Polumbus Speaks, you're missing out. Head on over to my YouTube right now and subscribe. We just passed 2,000 subscribers over on YouTube, so really appreciate you guys. I just launched Mount Polumbus Speaks about 3.5 weeks ago. We're already over 2,000 subscribers. I'm putting out all kinds of awesome content, all 22 breakdowns, top 10 plays, best, worst plays. I do scouting reports, pregame, postgame. I do it all. There's all kinds of awesome content that's living over there. I've already done the all 22 breakdown from the from the Atlanta Falcons game. And tomorrow I'll put out a scouting report on the Raiders. Not a whole lot to go over on that one, but it'll be interesting nonetheless. So please head on over to YouTube. If you wouldn't mind doing me a huge solid, help me out with the algorithm as I try to grow that channel. If you could please like and comment on this video right now. It's just a small little favor you could do for me. I know it gets annoying when everybody asks for that all the time, but I am new to this and I am trying to grow my channel. And it's crazy what that does for the algorithm, what just a single like and a single comment does for it. So if 10 or 15 of you would jump over and do that, it would help me grow tremendously. So I appreciate you guys. Stay tuned tomorrow.